why you suck at Nofap. Like, why can't you do it? Why can't you just get the streak down? Why can't you just change your identity and just make this a habit? There are a couple of reasons why this is. Now, listen, guys, I have been coaching people on this for years, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm qualified to speak on this subject. And I'm at a point in my own life where I have gone years and years of doing semen retention. My default setting is pretty much doing Nofap and semen retention. Like, that's my natural state. Whereas a lot of guys, their natural state is watching porn, masturbation, and they just can't figure out how to break the cycle. And there's a couple of reasons for this, right? And I'll break some of them down. One of the biggest reasons is because you simply just don't have enough pain, right? There's a point where you're getting more pain from not being the best version of yourself than the pain of not having that short-term pleasure. And the problem is, a lot of you guys see that there's more pain in not having that short-term pleasure in your life, rather than the pain of not being your best self or being your full self or being the highest version of yourself. When you're at a point where it's more painful to not be operating at your most peak, sharp, consistent, social, charismatic, confident self, than it is not having the pain of, than it is the pain of not having that little bit of gratification. Until you're at that point, you're never going to see the results you want on this journey. It's as simple as that. So you need to realize that there is a version of yourself that's so much better, so much more confident, that can achieve so much more. And you're simply not tapping into it because all you're doing is you're seeking short-term gratification, right? Once you have that realization, that's a big shift. But the problem is, a lot of people don't have that realization because they never do the semen retention long enough. They never do Nofap long enough to actually notice the benefits. And they think, what's the point? Like, you know, and for a lot of people, if they can't see the value in doing something, because as I was saying, when values are clear, decisions are easy. When you can't see the value in doing something, you tend not to do it. Do you know what I mean? And that's a big problem. But I feel like if you're watching this video, right, you already know the value in doing semen retention or Nofap. You already know what the value is. It's just that you don't know how to do it. You don't know how to get there. So that's one element. But really it comes down to a few different things, right? It's all to do with your mindset, it's to do with accountability, and it's to do with skills. If you have those three pillars, these are the three pillars I use in my coaching program. If you have those three pillars, you essentially can't fail. So first things first, the mindset. You need to change your mindset. A lot of guys have this mindset of like, they're going up a mountain. Oh, sorry, that's the good mindset. They have a mindset of like, when they make a mistake, they're back to zero. Oh, I'm doing semen retention, I relapse, fucking back to zero. Or, oh, I did something, I'm back to zero. It doesn't work like that. You have to view it like a mountain. You're climbing a mountain, the top of the mountain is the end goal you're trying to achieve. And as you're climbing up, if you make a mistake or you relapse, it doesn't mean you've failed. It doesn't mean you're back to square one. It just means that you've slowed down the process to get to that destination. And it's only if you relapse and you go into a negative headspace and you give up that you've actually failed. If you make a mistake and you just continue moving forward, you're good, you know? And that's a big thing people don't get. They just don't have the level of persistence. They don't have the level of perseverance to overcome it. Secondly, it's about understanding lust, understanding your mind, right? Like, the mind doesn't just, you don't just wake up and suddenly go, oh my God, I need to watch porn now. Like, I need to go and masturbate now. Like, that doesn't happen. It's always a gradual thing. You see a picture, you let a thought come into your head. It kind of progressively manifests. And then eventually you end up going to do that thing. If you can cut that process off before it has a chance to grow. I like to use something called the fire analogy. But if you can cut that process off before it fully gets to that point, you will see a big shift. Because like a fire, if I spark an ember onto some kindling and I blow on it, put some wood on it, it's going to catch a flame, it's going to keep burning, and eventually it's going to get to a point where I can't put that fire out. Whereas if you cut that fire off, like when it's that tiny ember, it's very easy to eliminate. And your mind works in a very similar way. When you let that thought in and it grows and it grows, it becomes increasingly harder to eliminate. And what happens is most people, it just leads them to relapse. So that's another factor, is having the right mindset of being able to cut those thoughts off before they even have a chance to fully manifest within themselves, right? And that, you get that from awareness, you get that from presence, you get that from being aware. And that's the thing, a lot of you guys are coping, you're just in a state of like just trying to numb your existence. And that's the problem. And that's the reason you're watching the porn, is because you don't particularly like yourself. And the only way it's going to change is if you change yourself, right? So it takes work initially. There's a period of momentum you need to build. You need to actually it's like a plane on a runway. You've got to generate a ton of power, ton of momentum. But once you actually take off, the whole process gets a lot easier. And the problem is a lot of guys, they give up before they even actually take off. And that's the problem. And that's why a lot of you guys are stuck, on this journey. The biggest thing as well is something I'm going to cover in another video, but you need purpose. When it comes down to skills, you can apply the breathing technique. You can apply sexual transmutation, which is a form of purpose, but not quite the same. You can, what other skills are there? Manage your stress. You can do all these things. You can change your environment. You can do all these things. But fundamentally, if you don't have a bigger reason why you're doing this, you don't have a bigger vision for yourself, or like I'm doing semen retention, not just for the sake of doing it, but because it is going to get me to a goal that's even bigger than this whole process. That is when you have struck gold. That's when you will find this to be so much easier. And that's what you need to do. You need to figure out what that purpose is. And you're not always going to know what it is straight away. And sometimes it comes along the way. The only way you can really find your purpose is if you tap into this, into this part of yourself. Now, I think with semen retention, it's about becoming there's no guy I've ever met that did Nofap or semen retention that didn't have a great personality. His character wasn't developed in a way that other people aren't. I'm not saying you need to be this absolute monk who just can sit on a mountain and just never do anything sexual. I'm not saying that. I don't really care what you guys do, but you need to ask within yourself, are you happy with who you are? Are you happy with how you feel about yourself? And if you feel like you're not, and you feel like you're messing up, and you feel like you look in the mirror and you're not happy with who you see, and this is a problem, because deep down we know we have something called the success mechanism. It's referred to in the book Psycho-Cybernetics, which is, and it obviously has different terms, but we all have this thing inside us that pulls us towards the right path in life. And if you know this is hurting you, then you need to make a change, and for a lot of people, the best thing I recommend is just completely eliminating this habit, gaining full control of it, and you'll realize it was something you never even needed in your life in the first place. Watching adult videos does not aid you in the slightest. Do you know what I mean? It's poison. It destroys you. It's poison. It's absolutely ruining you as a person. It's destroying your soul. It's making you weak, timid. And I think you'll be a better man for stepping away from those things. So if you're a man and you want to learn a little bit more, I gave you a couple of little nuggets of value that I hope they're useful. But if you want to make a change when it comes down to semen retention, Nofap, right? And you're ready to make a shift in your life, and you're tired of just being mediocre, and you want to step into your full potential, then listen, guys. Like I said, I've been doing it. I've helped over 50 guys quit porn and masturbation for good. Some of them guys having 20 decades worth of addiction. There is no excuse. Every single man can do this if you want it bad enough, if you're willing to put in the work. And with the right mentor, with accountability, and with the system I've built, the SRM blueprint, you almost can't fail. So if you're a guy who's between the ages of 20 and 35 and you want to make this change, you watched to the end of this video, it's kind of motivated you, it's kind of inspired you, listen, I'm offering a 15-minute consultation. There is a link below. You can book in. There's a couple of questions on there. If you're interested in potentially working together, or you just want to learn a bit more about what I offer, what I do, or you just want even just like a piece of advice, go ahead and just use that link, book yourself in a call. It will show you all the times that I'm available. And yeah, I'd love to meet you, love to have a conversation. And even if it doesn't go anywhere, that's fine. It'd be great to meet and have a chat. So link is below, guys. Much more content coming out soon. As you can see, I've got a fire in me. I'm back. I'm focused. I'm ready to just take action. Okay. And that's what I want to share with you guys, that kind of energy. So I hope this video was insightful, inspiring, helpful. Have a beautiful day, guys. Again, as I said, the link is in the description. I'll see you all soon.